has to do with the title of the video. And I'm gonna tell you, today I thought we would do another little ramble, but specifically I wanted the topic of today's ramble to be about my job. Not on YouTube, but the real job, which is kind of silly because working online and content creation and all sorts of other things, these are all real jobs too, and I don't have any problem viewing YouTube and doing this as my real world job, as this is my only job. Now, I quit the job I'm going to tell you about almost exactly 2 years ago. It was around the summer of 2020. I quit and I've been doing YouTube full time ever since, and I've been having a blast. But a lot of you ask me, do I have another job? Do I have a day job? Do I have a real life job? Or did I, and what was it? And up until this point, I have never discussed it on the channel anywhere. So if you wondered, if you missed it, you haven't. I have never ever talked about this before. Originally, when I had the job, it was for safety reasons. I didn't want to say what I did, not necessarily for me, but for the people I worked with. I felt like that was the better choice, and I don't know, since then I haven't talked about it, but I always felt like one day I'd like to tell you and explain what I used to do for a living, and today's the day. I'm gonna tell you all about it. So, I said that and this work ties into me being sick. I used to get sick all the time while I was working. Growing up, I really didn't get sick very much. I was a really healthy kid. I would get a cold like this maybe once a year, if that. Most kids, I think, probably get illnesses, viral infections and stuff from school, you know, stony little kids. But I've mentioned to you guys a few times that I was homeschooled as a kid, so it was just me. I didn't have anyone to infect me, unless it was someone from one of my many extracurriculars that I did after school. So I didn't have a lot of those germy antibodies, maybe, or I did, I don't know. So when I started working, I felt like I got sick all the time, and that is because I was a teacher. Can you see it? I would be holding like an apple or something. This is one of my, you know, see, it's so cute. One of my dresses that I would wear to school. It's like a little flouncy sleeves, and it's all buttoned down, and it's very professional. Yeah, it's one of my teacher dresses. I still wear a few of them. I don't know, could you guess that I was a teacher? I've been told I exude teacher energy sometimes. More specifically, I was a preschool teacher. For those who are American, preschool is 4 and 5-year-olds, and it is a optional grade before kindergarten. Kindergarten is where kids have to start going to school. So you don't have to attend pre-K. Some places call it VPK, voluntary preschool. I think some schools actually do require it. Maybe. I'm still unclear on that. But if the kids do learn it, that's where they really learn to read the alphabet, pronounce everything, start piecing together words and sentences, start writing those basic letters down, beginner addition, subtraction, or you know, take some aways and add sums. And in kindergarten, they would then extrapolate on those core principles that they were learning in pre-K and preschool. Technically, I was not. This sounds weird. I'm gonna explain everything. Let me go back. Let's go all the way back to when I started in 2018, a few years ago. this test to take it while getting some real life practical hands-on teaching experience as a substitute teacher. I thought that would be like the perfect thing to do, and apparently a lot of other people do this, so I guess I wasn't alone. So it's the end. It's like the beginning of the school year of 2018, I guess, and I went to go sign up at, you know, what it was I needed to sign up to become a substitute teacher. You don't have to have the full degree to be a substitute, but I think you have to have completed some college courses. I wasn't really sure, but I had a degree, so I just brought my degree, and I basically had to sit through like a 4-hour lecture seminar on what you can and can't do in the classroom. And like legally what, you know, we were not allowed to do, because then the company would be responsible. And you're working with children, and whenever you work with children, things get really serious. So we listened to all that, and then I got fingerprinted to make sure I'm an upstanding citizen or something, and got my picture taken for my badge that would let me into the schools, and it was a horrible picture, and I don't photograph well at all. And that was that. It was literally just like one day, and then they're like, okay, we'll put you in the system. They were always, I guess, desperate for substitute teachers, and let's see, then I didn't get to start going to schools because they lost my info. They were supposed to call me and tell me how I could access their website, and they did not do that for about 2 months, and it was nearing the end of the year before I actually got to start teaching. So, but basically you log on to this little website, and then it shows you a list of all the availabilities where teachers have gone in and said, I'm sick, or I'm gonna be out, here's my class, here's the school. Maybe they might leave a quick note of do this or don't do this. They usually leave a physical note too. So I would go in and I could say, yep, I'm gonna take that job and I'll be there tomorrow. It was very easy. And it was anything from pre-K to high school to elective classes, and I decided, because I wanted to teach elementary education, that I would only be taking elementary education jobs, so pre-K through 5th grade. However, my first job was a middle school class because it was a dance class, and I used to be a dancer, so it was like, I'm very qualified for this, even though you probably didn't have to have any dance qualifications, like, because the kids were doing like a worksheet of like French terms and stuff, but given that I was a dancer, I asked them to show me like the stuff they were working on, and it was really cute. They were really sweet kids, and I loved that. That was my first day teaching, and from then on, I pretty much did elementary education. So I worked a few jobs from everything, you know, 1st grade, 2nd grade, 3rd grade, 4th grade, 5th grade, or, you know, year 1, year 2, like these kind of young kids. And one day I worked a preschool job, pre-K, at this one school for this one teacher, and I really enjoyed it. It was the best day I had so far. I connected with the kids, and I was having just so much fun that I was like, I really like pre-K specifically. I think I'm gonna try to do this more. And maybe it's just because I love all children, but I especially like young children because they're so impressionable. So I actually I spoke to this teacher a lot, and I gave her my phone number, and I said, you know, if you need me, text me, and we'll work something out. Like, less than a month later, she texts me and she's like, it's like Saturday, she's like, can you be at the school on Monday for like the entire week? And I was like, yeah. I won't go into it to respect personal emergency had happened. She was gonna be out. So I was kind of freaking out because I was like, I was completely stepping into the role of their teacher for the entire week. And it went really well, and I had a great time. I already knew the kids, so they were thrilled to see me back, and this was the first time I got to see the same class of kids again. And it was a lot because it was 2 classes. There was a morning class and an afternoon class. So altogether 40 4- and 5-year-olds. And I memorized all of their names on the first day because that was very important to me, that the children felt like I cared about them. And no one wants a teacher to say, "Hey you, what's your name?" So I try to get them all memorized and never ask what a kid's name was. Although that was hard because there was a set of identical twins. And I'll be honest, I don't think any of us ever 100% of the time got the names right for those girls. Very cute little girls, but they didn't care if you got their names wrong. So I spent the whole week there, and in pre-K you have 2 teachers. So there's the actual teacher, and there's like an assistant teacher. So I was stepping in a role as the proper teacher. They both teach, but it's more like, you know, one sets the lesson plan and does the actual like grading stuff. The other one just helps out in any way. And I really liked the assistant teacher too. We got on great. I thought it would be awkward because I was like half her age, if not less than that. So, but technically I was in charge, so I was worried that she would feel really uncomfortable with like a 22-year-old telling her what to do. But she was super cool. And her own kid was, her grandson was in the class, and he was super sweetie. So after that, she, because of lingering effects of the personal emergency, she needed me in like all the time. And I was basically there every week, maybe for the whole week, maybe just like 2 days, 3 days, just always there, to the point where the kids thought I was like just the 3rd teacher. I was the 3rd teacher. So I started just doing this all the time, and I would prioritize this class over anything else. I wouldn't work or even take jobs if I was thinking she might need me. And we did this for the rest of the school year. I worked there all the time. Without actually being officially employed by the school, I was employed by a 3rd-party company that pays the substitutes, and then we go out to the schools, and I don't know, it's weird, you know, because it was like, I wasn't a teacher at the school, but I was. Everyone knew me, like all the staff, the custodial staff, the other teachers, the other kids. I had older siblings of some of the little kids that all knew me, and yeah, they're like, "Hey, Miss Jubilee." It's not what they call me, of course, but so I had my summer break, and that was all great. And the first week of school, she texts me, and she's like, "Mrs., the name of the assistant teacher, has had a personal emergency." So before it was the teacher, this time it's the para, they're called a para, the paraprofessional teacher, and I need you to fill her shoes. And she was out for like 3 months, so I just stepped in and I just became the assistant teacher every single day, every week, for the entire first half of the school year, basically. So this is why I tell everybody that I was a pre-K teacher, because yes, technically I was a substitute teacher and I was not employed by the school, but I went to the same school every day, saw the same kids, taught the same kids. I worked with them, I watched them grow and learn. And there was even a time when the other teacher had to be out for like a, I don't know, dentist appointment or something, and so I had to fill in for her, and she got someone else to fill in for the other teacher, and then that was crazy, because it was 2 substitutes running the classroom, except it wasn't really like a normal substitute, because I knew how everything worked at that point. I'd been there for a whole school year. Yeah. And same classroom at the same school, basically. And overall, I guess I had 80 kids, and I knew everyone's name. Yeah. And you know what? The second year, I also had a pair of identical twins. I thought that was crazy. I had back-to-back identical twin girls. And there's a really funny story I could tell about the twins. That maybe I'll tell you guys another time. I have so many funny stories from teaching, and it feels so great to finally get to tell you guys this. Like, I really loved teaching, and it was very rewarding, but I never got to tell you guys any of this. So, I guess you're probably wondering, why did I quit? Why did I stop if I enjoyed it so much, right? So, I was doing, the other teacher came back eventually, after the new year. The new year was really when she came back, I guess, and I did then fill in for both of them a few times for the rest of the school year. But you may remember, okay, well, hold on, first I should say that I went on a trip to the UK. Okay, so that year, the end of 2019, I went on this trip to the UK with my friends, and I even talked about it. I made a video, I showed you guys some pictures and stuff. And when I got back, I was subbing a little bit, and some things were starting to brew around the world. I don't need to tell you what was happening, you know. So there was a little bit of concern, and then I had to fly back to the UK for an emergency, and while I was there, Europe kind of started to explode. Not in the UK where I was, more in mainland Europe. But I got back to America, and it felt like that week everything changed. And my husband trialed working from home that week on a Friday. They're like, let's trial it over the weekend in case we need to do this, in case things get serious. And he's never gone back. So that same week, I was like, I don't think I'm super comfortable going into a school right now, and they didn't need me, so I kind of stopped working. And I think I maybe only went back, I think I worked a couple days after that, and that was pretty much it. And summer break was not too far away, and I thought about it for the rest of the school year and in the start of summer, and I was like, I'm not sure I'm super comfortable doing this anymore. And I had kind of decided, I don't know that I want to teach full time. I never took the teacher certification. I took half the test, and I passed half the test, and I didn't take the other half because I kind of, at this point, was like, maybe I don't want to do this full time. At the same time, my channel was starting to do well at this point. I started picking up subscribers, and I started making more money with the channel than I ever had before due to more views. And I decided over the summer I would officially resign from being a substitute, and I would not pursue teaching anymore. It was a little bit of a sad conclusion to reach, but I kind of felt like maybe my time doing that has stopped, and I need to give my attention now to the channel. Filming was really awkward back then. I got home early. The school day ends at 3, so I was usually out I usually was leaving by 3:30 to 4. Then I'd be home, and I had like an hour and a half or so to film before my partner came home, and then I didn't have a quiet apartment anymore. So it's been amazing. It also started to basically just be much more worth my time monetarily, because I don't have any shame in telling you guys this. I was making very, very little teaching. I was there every day. I got up at 6 a.m. every day, got ready, drove out, made sure the classroom was all clean and ready, went over what we'd be, going on for the day, greeted all the children at the front of the school, by name, welcome them into the classroom. We do this cute thing where they decide if they want like a high five or a hug or a fist bump, or sometimes they don't want contact at all, and that's fine. And then they come in, always sang like a morning song. I help them put all their stuff away. We worked on skills like the calendar and the weather, getting them to understand how time passes over the year. And then, after all this morning stuff and a little bit of like writing practice, then we moved on into our dedicated blocks of time where they would rotate between like math and reading and writing and spelling. And then I'm with them for lunch, and I'm with them if they hurt themselves and they cry, and I'm with them if they need me to tie their shoes, and I'm with them if they're having a bad day with their parents and they just need some attention. And I'm there all day doing all this, and I'm making $10 an hour. Yeah, not that much more than minimum wage. But I didn't care. I loved these children. I loved getting to see them every day. I loved making a difference in their lives and making them feel special and important. And I loved things like just getting to do things that I felt like things that were important that are not a curriculum-based thing. For example, telling them that there's no such thing as a girl toy or a boy toy. There's just toys, and you can play in the kitchen, you can play with the blocks or the cars, and they don't mean anything. If you have fun playing with that, go play with that. And there's no girl color and boy color, there's just colors, and you can like pink and you can like blue and purple, right? So these are things that are not important to education, but I felt that they were important, that if I could get these kids to understand that from a young age that these gender role things don't matter, then that was something important to me. I had one kid with really, really long hair, and everyone called him a girl, but he would tell everyone, I'm a boy, I'm a boy. And so we tried to make it, he and I tried to get the other kids to understand boys can have long hair. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't even mean that they have to like girly things, because he didn't. He wanted to play with all the trucks and stuff, and he wanted to be viewed as a boy. So I felt like over the year, I noticed them stop calling him a girl or stop using feminine pronouns to refer to him, and they just accepted that he just has long hair, and that made me really proud of them. And some of the girls had short hair, and they were fine with that. So these are like little things that I feel like if you can teach from a young age, you have a healthier, happier adult. That's being a better member of society, so we talk about these kind of things. It's okay to have feelings, it's okay to cry, it's okay to let it out, I try to just help them be healthy individuals rather than just knowing how to spell their name and what number to call if there's an emergency, along with these basic life skills. I felt like I was teaching them how to be good individuals, I hope. And that was the most rewarding part of the job to me. And feeling like I was making a difference, there's only so much you can do as a teacher. You're not their parent, right? But I loved it, and I think they're all wonderful children. I had this like superpower with adults. I'm very impatient, I feel, but for the kids, I have literally limitless patience, and I'll sit there for 10 minutes while the kids try to tell me a story. You know, one of those stories that's like, my mom, my dad, and I have a dog, and I'm like, that's great, but I don't know what they're trying to tell me. But it was important that I made the kid feel listened to, and that their stories matter. And I always had time for them. They could always stop and tell me whatever silly thing they wanted to tell me, even if it was about their stuffed animal or their dog, you know. They can tell me these things, and I will listen and treat them as an individual and an adult, really. I didn't like as a kid when people treated me as a little kid, like, you know, they talk down to you and they're like, oh, I need me. So I always had respect for the children, and treated them like the way I would want to be treated at any age, really. At any age, yeah. You always want to be treated with respect. And they're people. They're not just kids, they're people, right? So I really enjoyed that. So, even though I was making like $60 a day, and it was not enough to live by, it was a very worthwhile career for as long as I did it, but not a viable one for long term. And so I started seeing how full-time teachers were being treated, and I didn't like it, and I felt a little bit bad about leaving education, because I think it's unfortunate, but like, you need people who really do care. There's no money, there's no in it for the money, because there's no money. So I left to pursue YouTube, and it's also been very, very rewarding. I think that maybe now you can see that I try to impart some of the same, like I try to build you guys up the same way I would a student. You know, you're worthwhile, you're worth the time and energy of other people, and if they're not giving you that love and respect, they're not worth your time. You deserve to be treated like a person, right? Like an adult. And you deserve love. And there's no such thing as boy-girl colors and toys. Yeah, these are just silly, but like, that's just how I feel about all this. And like I said, I really loved it for the time I did it, and I always think back to all of my kids very, very fondly. There's no such thing as a bad child, or a bad student, or a difficult child. There are just children, and some of them need extra love or extra attention, and that's okay. That doesn't make them flawed, that doesn't make them bad. Some kids are hyperactive, some kids have learning difficulties, some have sensitivities. I was one of those kids. I was very, very sensitive child. Had trouble with loud noises or harsh fabrics or touch. Don't touch me. And I think that my experiences as a sensitive child like that really helped me with the kids. You know, sometimes they don't want to be touched, or they didn't want that scratchy jacket on, and I'm like, I get it. Believe me, I get it. I think my next step with kids is to have them myself, and something I'm really looking forward to in the future. Not yet. I know you guys kind of keep expecting it to happen, because, well, as a whole can of worms. I'm not gonna get into wage inequality right now, but yeah, I just think if you're doing something that requires a college degree, you should get paid more. Or if it's like one of those core critical jobs, like an EMT or a nurse, you think these roles that are so important to a society should get paid more, right? Or else people will quit, like I did. So, tell me, were you surprised to hear that I was a teacher? I feel like you were not. You're probably not. I do have a preschool teacher energy, I think, about me that made me well suited. And if you like hearing this kind of stuff, I would love to do a video in the future telling you funny anecdotes. At one point I was keeping a notepad of all the funny things that happened or that a kid would say to me at school, mainly when I was doing other grades. I didn't really write down stuff that happened in preschool because I was there every day and it was the same kids. But I do also have funny stories from preschool. Love the 4 and 5-year-olds. They're really just starting to become their own individual people, and I love to see it. I love to see these personalities really forming. They're strong, like they're so much more smart and mature than you would think if you haven't worked with kids. I hadn't been around kids that young in a while, and I just forgot how smart they are. I loved it. They made me mini drawing. I have so much artwork that I have kept, all of it, and cards and valentines that they've given me. Very, very cute. I will have to show you guys. I'll scratch out my name, but I'll have to show you guys some. Like I said, if you want a Tales from Preschool video or something, that would be kind of fun to talk about. I hope you enjoyed this long rambly ramble, and I'm all better. Don't worry about me. I'm not sick anymore, but I was getting sick all the time because that is what happens when a child sneezes point blank in your face. You get sick. When you wear glasses, it doesn't even help. Just sneeze right in your eyes, in your mouth. And you don't get mad at them because they're poor. And you just tell them, that's kind of rude. Don't sneeze on me in the future. And then you go home and you get sick. But then you have to keep working because you can't abandon the kids. Yeah, you work through every single cold. Because they're all sick anyway, so it doesn't matter. Alright, I'm gonna stop here and let you ruminate on all the amazing things I've told you. I just enjoyed getting to share this one bit of my life that I've been keeping kind of a secret for years. You know, it felt like a really long period of my life. Like at the time it was like my teacher years, but now it kind of feels like a blip. I was teaching pretty much as long as I've been doing YouTube full time, like 2 years. Doesn't feel like much time at all now. So I had my teacher years, and these are the YouTube years, I guess.